Tarzoor, who is the Director General of Senator Akume Campaign Organization and also a former Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
For a moment, I thought you had run away and you weren't going to appear on the program today.
No, I cannot run away. I just wanted us to know that there are certain levels of interaction. He, my dear brother, is the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Benue State, right? And I was the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for governorship. And I felt it wasn't a wise interaction, you know, for me to engage in. That's why I kept my low for him to do his own program and I do mine.
I see. Okay, well, you're here now, and you've heard the issues. They believe that you're asking for the federal government to bring in the military because you're looking for a cover to rig the elections in Benue State. How do you respond to that?
Well, thank you very much. I want to disabuse the minds of Nigerians, especially on what is happening in Benue State. There was federal might before the last election. And that federal might, the person that was in a better position to using it was the distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic, Senator Dr. George Akume. He never used that because he saw that the Benue people should decide. You know, in as much as he was a senator, a third-time senator of the Federal Republic, the federal might was there. President Muhammadu Buhari was still the president, but it wasn't employed to Benue. And I believe on this basis that the PDP is just hallucinating. You know, they're living in a different world. No one is talking about federal might. They cried that in the last election. They said, oh, the senator has brought in army to harass people in Boko, and they turned in the votes for APC. It wasn't that case.
You said they're
the senator
hallucination.
Lost. Yeah, the senator lost.
Haven't you made any request? I mean, your party or some concerned, as we always see, civil groups requesting that the military be deployed to Benue State under the guise of security?
Certainly. Why we would do that? I'm telling you because they are making it look as if it has been a norm. But I'm telling you because what we experienced in the last election, you know, suffice to say that, yes, indeed, there should be an additional security outfit presence in Benue. One, because in Guma, Bajimba, precisely where the governor comes from, APC members were not even allowed to go in there. The candidate of the House of Representatives representing Guma Makodi constituency is from the same extraction with the governor. He was not even allowed to vote. He scored 0 at his polling unit. He couldn't even access his own polling unit. That's to tell you that there is an inadequacy. And that particular spot housed the coalition center of that particular local government, where the governor comes in, you know, from. And based on that, we saw that there is a lapse here that needs to be filled. There is need to ensure that there is more and adequate security, you know, to allow the Benue people to go out there and vote.
You don't seem to be asking for the police. You're asking for a military presence.
The police have been there. The police have been there.
Perhaps they're not deployed sufficiently.
Well, if they have not been deployed sufficiently, I know that the party structure will do as much as possible to call for more and additional security forces. Mind you, there are, for some time, have been the workings of the livestock guards who have terrorized every hinterland of Benue State. And I can bet you that we have told the whole of Benue local government, exception of that particular local government. On our way to that local government, our people were displaced, shot. About 3 women were killed on the spot.
Which people? APC people? Or
APC,
Benue,
APC members, APC faithfuls were displaced in that particular local government. That's the governor's local government.
You know,
that's the only local government we never visited in our campaign.
Doctor, if I can hear you clearly, in one breath, you say that PDP people are hallucinating. The next breath, you're citing examples of where, you know, there were security lapses and where you might be needing military presence. Are they really hallucinating?
Hallucinating.
Or are you making a request to the federal government to deploy
hallucinating
soldiers
hallucinating because they are making it look as if it has been what was on ground, because they did this in the last election. That's where I'm saying they are hallucinating. In the last election, they cried foul. Military might.
Which last election?
Federal might.
Which one of the elections?
Of course, the National Assembly and the presidential election.
Now, have you had
federal might? Yes. Federal might. Hey, they are coming with federal might to take over Benue. You know, it didn't work. The distinguished senator is a Benue person and a people's person. He allowed the Benue people to decide. He's been calm on it. And then they've still gone ahead to say that. But I can tell you that until we beef up the security situation in Benue, the entire Benue state has been, you know, soaked in militancy from the livestock guards and the rest. That's why I said hallucination on what has been before. But now we are saying security should be beefed up in Benue to allow the Benue people to decide.
I don't think anybody would question if you say security should be beefed up. I think the question is what type of security? Because people have said the army have no role. They have no role whatsoever in an election. I mean, I think they even cite court judgments to that effect, that it was I think it was the APC which went to court to obtain that court judgment, saying, you know, asking for the role of the military, you know, asking the Supreme Court to say precisely what the role of the military was. But now you're saying, let us have, you know, more security for the elections.
Fine.
Have you listened to this theory? Because you point to the fact that the president, you know, did not deploy this, that they cried foul for the presidential elections and nothing of the sort happened. But have you heard those who say that because we've seen a situation, we now know where the pendulum has swung, we might see more people getting desperate during the governorship elections? How would you respond to that?
Well, let me tell you that the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has been president for the past 4 years, right? And was president even when we were going to the polls. You know, he had the right to decide what to do at that time. But that was not used. And I tell you that in the Obasanjo era, if you go down memory lane, you agree with me that this is a system where the president is so powerful and can remove a governor, even with 5 members. The Darius case is there, and so many other issues of impeachment, and even state of emergency declared. But in Benue, all this lingering on crisis of the governor saying, you know, casting aspersions on the president and say, oh, federal might, the president wants to clamp on Benue State, oh, this and that. But you agree with me that there was this Benue Assembly and the executive saga. You are all very much aware of that. Mr. President never got involved. And the governor was allowed to still be the governor of Benue State. We agree with that. Issues of declaration of emergency. You know that Benue has been immersed in so much security issues because the number one citizen had chosen to play politics with security matters. The federal government has chosen...
The number one citizen by that, you mean the president, right?
No, number one citizen in Benue. That's what I'm saying. The first family in Benue. I'm not talking about Nigeria now. I'm going to the context Benue. The federal might was not applied. The president had to call in the military to ensure that the Benue people's lives and properties are protected. Now we are going into elections. You know that security matters will also rear its head in, an election time. Will you now tell me that security should not be beefed up in Benue and allow someone who has come up with livestock guards, which is an illegality, of course you know, to continue to harass our people in the hinterland not to go out to vote?
Doctor, you know that the APC only recently split in Benue State. I mean, up until a couple of months ago, the governor of Benue State was in the APC. You saw absolutely nothing wrong with the livestock guard. If there's anything, we even understand that the PDP and the APC seem to be united when the governor came up with the plan for the livestock guard. We understand that a number of things that was done on the menace of people being killed in Benue State was you agree?
No. I disagree with you.
Across parties.
I disagree with you that I was in PDP at that time. Yes. I disagree with you. I was in PDP at that time.
Were there disagreements?
Yes, I disagree with you. I was in PDP at that time. And I can tell you that I was the governorship candidate for PDP in 2015. I ran against the present governor of Benue State. The differentials were just less than 100,000
So when did you join the APC?
No, because I saw that the People's Democratic Party, now got to, seek themselves in areas where we see people are not given to integrity.
When did you join the APC?
I joined the APC about a year now. Why? Because people who went to Port Harcourt to commission projects and say they are commissioning projects here in Port Harcourt, their own governors are commissioning wheelbarrows. And then people who have been harassed for embezzling over 100 billion. People who were harassed.
Who were the people that were harassed for?
Of course, his own predecessor. I don't want to mention names, but his predecessor, the present government of Benue State, his own predecessor, was harassed for embezzling over 100 billion. Okay? For also getting involved in arms. These are burning issues in Nigeria. They're not coming from me.
All of these issues,
let me land.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. All of these issues have been present. You just conducted presidential elections in Benue State. Your party lost. The PDP won in Benue State. Isn't that an indication that perhaps you're asking for this because you think that there might be some favor or that there could be some leaning towards you to help you win in the governorship elections?
I wanted to educate us on the reason why I came into APC, right? And that's why I said, if we should be men of integrity.
That's not the question.
If we should be men of integrity.
Because we're almost out of time, and I think it's very important that you address the question. Isn't this a mark of desperation on the part of the APC, asking for security agents ahead of the governorship elections?
The APC government can never be desperate in Benue because the Benue people are already crying foul that this is someone who is owing our salaries for 1 year. This is someone who has chosen not to pay pensioners for 2 years, and they are ready to vote him out. We can't be desperate. He is rather desperate and then crying foul here and there. I want to tell you that if only Senator Dr. George Akume is not a peaceful person and a Benue person blooded, he would have gone out wide and far. And that would have caused a lot of, crisis in Benue. Like the day we were going to Guma, in his own hometown, we were denied of, getting to the headquarters. But he was in Akume's own hometown, campaigned and said all sorts of things. No pure water, no stone was thrown at him. So we should say that the PDP are the people who are desperately running around. I just left Makurdi late last night, and I got in here. And I know what is happening in there. I can inform you that right now, there is an attack in one of the local governments, for reasons being that, we warned you that you should not vote in Buhari. You have voted in Buhari. The Fulanis have come again. The only person to defend you is the governor. Why should we play politics with the blood of the Benue people? That's what we're calling for. We are saying the Benue people should be allowed to vote, free and fair. Let them vote. Let them not be harassed.
Sadly, it is a good thing that you're asking for this thing. I mean, there's nothing sad about you asking, but for security to be beefed up. The question is, what type of security are you looking for? And, if you're asking that the military be brought into the elections, there'll be questions as to what your motive is.
The military are not coming to go and man pulling units.
Are you asking for the military to be brought in?
The military, I want to say this, the military are not coming to go and man pulling units. The military have been, their presence have been fed you know, across areas that are security risky, you know, set areas. Because you know that we had Operation
I'm going to ask that.
White Stroke
I'm
and the
sorry
rest.
I have to interrupt
So,
you. We have to go on a break. I'm going to ask Dr. Tarzoor to answer that question again. Whether
certainly
or
I'll
not
do
he's
that.
asking for the military to be deployed to Benue State, or he's just asking for security agents in general. In just a moment, please stay with us. Terhemen Tarzoor is still with us in the studio. He is the DG Senator Akume Campaign Organization and a former Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly. We're talking about asking for security agencies, specifically whether the military should be deployed to Benue or not for election matters. Now, you were saying that, or we're saying that the elections have been conducted on the 23rd. People were saying that perhaps things will become a little more desperate as we approach the governorship elections, and whether or not your motives for asking for the military are truly justifiable and whether they are altruistic.
Well, let me still tell you that it's quite a coincidence. Like in the course of this interface, I mentioned one of the local governments is already being attacked, you know, by allegation in court said to be attacked by herdsmen, you know, and we are having elections on Saturday. It goes without saying that the military needs to step in there now to ensure that, you know, such abnormalities will not hinder people from voting. So we are not saying the military should come in and mount polling units, but they should come in and do the job they are supposed to do in protecting lives and property. So will you tell me that now that that particular local government that has been attacked on grounds of allegations that, oh, we told you not to vote in President Muhammadu Buhari, you have voted in him, the Fulanis have come again. They need to go in there and ensure that the people will vote on Saturday.
The question is, why the military?
I'm not a security personnel, and I must tell you that. But I want to believe that, given my own background, I know that the military are in a better position to forestall, you know, such crises. Given that we have tried, you know, so many other security outfits and agencies for some time. And mind you, the military have been around in different operations, like we have in Benue, Patuma, White Stroke and the rest. So it's difficult for me to decipher now that, okay, they should not come in here even when there are issues of communities being attacked. Two different things. We're talking of communities being attacked in order not to vote on Saturday. And then we're talking about voting on Saturday. You know, so for me, I don't see it out of place. But let me ask you again, is it allowed?
Just a moment.
Is it allowed
you
that...
say you don't see it out of place. There's a question of, you know, the role of the military in our elections in the last couple of elections that we have had.
In this case, the military are not going in for election.
Just a moment. They did not go in for elections in the cases that we were told, but we also know that some of their roles have not been very straightforward, sadly. And so when the people begin to hear the military again, they begin to, you know, wonder whether or not these issues have been addressed by the Nigerian military, or whether or not, you know, they're going to be deployed to other means or to other ends other than what they ought to be doing for the people on election day.
Well, that's not within my purview to talk about the role of the military and what they are going to Benue to do. But I've told you where the Benue people have cried foul, that communities have already been attacked on grounds of that. And I feel that the military are in a better position to ensuring that people are back home, you know, safely to go in and vote. And I ask you, what is the role of the livestock guards in an election?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you and the Nigerian people that, are we going to say livestock guards has a role in an election project? Well, obviously, it's an illegality.
The people of Benue State came up with the law, you know, empowering the livestock guards. We want to believe that they also defined what their roles will be, even in
a law on security,
like elections.
A law on security issues.
Well, I want to believe you're asking a rhetorical question, but we have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily. Dr. Terhemen Tarzoor is a DG, Senator Akume Campaign Organization, and also a former Speaker of the Benue State House of Assembly. And he's speaking to us here in our Abuja studio. The program continues about now with Chamberlain and Ayo in Lagos.